But despite the White House avoiding further escalation for now, US TV pundits are ramping up the pressure for war while masking their connections to the lucrative defence industry. RT's Caleb Morpin explains.
There was compelling intelligence reasons of an imminent threat to respond.
I trust the intelligence assessment of what Soleimani was doing, the kinds of actions he was preparing for.
I take it at face value what he is saying, and Secretary Pompeo, that this was a preemptive defensive measure.
Now, these are supposed to be just random smart people who are going to help us understand the situation, except they aren't. A lot of them have a particular financial interest in a specific outcome. Essentially, they're tied to corporations that make profits from war. If the USA and Iran go head-to-head, they'll get a pretty nice payout, and the viewers are kept in the dark about these ties.
The world is on edge since the US took out Iranian terrorist architect and Quds Force commander Qasem Soleimani following the December 31st attack on the US embassy in Iraq. Since 1979, Iran has bullied, threatened and killed and spread its reign of terror. The president has made the right decisions on Iran to this point, including scrapping the Iranian nuclear deal.
Van Hipp Jr. works for a lobbying firm, American Defense Incorporated, that represents military contractors, and who are one of the sponsors of his lobbying efforts, none other than the manufacturers of the drone that killed Soleimani. So, are we really shocked he's not singing Kumbaya and urging restraint? Check out this guy.
They crossed a red line with this president when he exercised enormous constraint in not taking that provocation, but said don't kill any Americans, and when they did, he acted very strongly.
Jack Keane is represented as just a retired general giving his 2 cents, but actually since his retirement from the Pentagon, he's been working with military contracting companies like General Dynamics, and now he runs a venture capital firm that specializes in defense and security. Not exactly Mr. Objective.
General Soleimani, he was a lawful military objective, and the president had ample domestic legal authority to take him out without an additional congressional authorization.
Jed Johnson was in the Department of Homeland Security under Barack Obama, but now he's in the private sector working for Lockheed Martin. That's the company that makes the warplanes that are stationed across the Middle East. And who can forget David Petraeus? That's the military commander turned CIA director who had an affair and leaked classified information to his mistress. Now, you would think he wouldn't be credible. After all, this is what happened when he tried to teach classes at City College in New York.
Sexual abuse. He's over manslaughter right here. He's an you disgusting You're nothing but a disgusting
But Petraeus is back, selling war on primetime.
It's impossible to overstate the significance of the attack that takes out Qasem Soleimani. This is bigger than bin Laden. It's bigger than Baghdadi.
The overwhelming majority of the American people believe that the invasion of Iraq in 2003 was a big mistake. So it's worth pointing out that the same people who were on TV in 2003 selling the invasion of Iraq are now on TV pushing a new war against Iran. The exact same people.
It is important to understand the consequences of pulling out of Iraq before our work is done and victory is achieved. Abandoning our Iraqi friends would signal the world that America cannot be trusted to keep its word.
Soleimani was the highest-ranking official in the Quds Force. He has the blood of many American soldiers on his hands.
The U.S. public has voted for presidential candidates who promised less involvement overseas over and over again. But the mainstream media seems to be working pretty hard to convince them otherwise. And it's giving special attention to certain individuals who have certain shady financial ties, and it's not disclosing those ties to the viewers.
Many of the pundits, the analysts that we see in U.S. media are people who are either on the boards of military corporations or they're lobbyists for the military industry, and they have an economic incentive, unfortunately, when it comes to war. And this is not disclosed when we hear them talking about how good Trump is doing in killing the general of another country and inciting a new war. We have to admit that there is a strong military-industrial complex in the United States and that the news media itself benefits from war.